What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys back yet again, getting episode 2 in of our Best Leader series, doing some testing. Today we're taking a look. Shipmaster's the man. This is the deck we're running. So again, as you guys know me, generally pretty well balanced. Try to have some good counters to everything. We've got Hunters, we've got the Prowling Reaver in here, we've got the Engineer, we've got the Grunt Mob, we've got the Blood Fuel Locust, we've got Shipmaster himself running, and that's what we're doing. So we'll jump into this. Again, if you guys are new to the channel, I'll do this the pitch up front. Make sure you subscribe down below. We're going through all the different leaders, doing 2 games of Blitz right back to back. The only edits for me are going to be take out some of the filler in the middle. We'll take a look at the deck in between, make any swap ups that we think we need to do. And for me, this is just trying to answer the question of I wanted a little bit more definitive reasoning for why I think certain leaders are better than others. And also to answer the question, are all the leaders viable? We ran an episode of Isabel already prior to this, so if you haven't seen that one, go check it out. This will be episode number 2, and then stay tuned for the rest of the week. Like I said, we're going to be putting up 1 a day and just going through all the different leaders. And then I'll do a wrap-up video at the end, just kind of talking through kind of my overall perceptions and try to rank order the leaders at least a little bit based on these games and what I've seen. But yeah, so feel free, subscribe, like, comment down below, do all that great stuff. Follow us on Twitter, that way you get the updates when we upload as well. And then we have the Xbox Average Gamer Guys Club, great community there. A lot of people looking to play Halo Wars 2 and a bunch of other games, so feel free, join that. Everybody can join. So we're running up against a rank 10. So probably a little bit overpowered here. This is the one thing that I obviously can't control, but I was kind of enjoying it and like the idea of being able to play against a bunch of different people, because you're not always going to be able to play the same people. Obviously, Shipmaster is a pretty popular choice and one of the more top tier leaders, especially recently with some of the buffs and a little bit of the balance changes that they've done, and has always been one of the favorites for me and Sloth as well. Just because he's a good leader. The cloaking ability really, I think, sets him apart, especially in Blitz. Multiplayer, it's a little bit different, but in Blitz, you really do need some hard counter units. And the capability to go cloaked for the whole time period if they don't have that counter unit is pretty powerful, which is why we're using the Prowling Marauders here. Now, I don't use the Prowling Marauder actually in the deck. I think the energy cost, especially in 1v1s, is a little too steep, to be honest, for the effect, especially that later in the game, and I think there are better options. But the starting army here I think is absolutely great. These things are pretty fast, so I don't mind them at all. Definitely good to go get energy collection. Our opponent here went the 3 ghosts, which is actually also a pretty decent starting army, to be really honest. I think here he just doesn't stand the chance. I'm able to soak up all those energy because I just sit in the middle of them, and then he can't see them, which is why this starting army is so good, because there's just nothing he can do. He's going to need to play another unit in order to be able to take a look at those guys. Here, normally I would save up actually and try to play something a little bit higher powered, but the Blood Fuel Locust is just so hard to take down by itself. I think it's just a great addition, and plus it's essentially going to act as my energy core grabber here. It's a little slow, which is a little frustrating, but we end up pushing these guys up. I don't mean to push that guy over there. I think he ends up snagging this energy from us, which sucks just a little bit. Actually, no, I'm able to get in here and grab 2 of them because he pulls his ghost back, and here you're going to see again Blood Fuel Locust. If you guys know, if you've been around the game a little while, you know how hard this thing is to take down, and you also know that I'm a big fan. Win that initial fight. I just won the initial fight right there by really not spending a whole ton of energy. I spent 80 for the blood fuel. I spent 60 to bring the Grunt Mob in. I simultaneously was grabbing the energy. We clearly have the energy advantage at this point. I was able to grab the energy and take out those initial ghosts, which was pretty good. We're going to do a decent job here. I don't know why I called this. Oh, I called the chopper in to kind of help me try to take this engineer down, and this thing just soaks up the energy right here and the damage. It's crazy. He's able to call quite a bit of stuff in And you have to be able to focus on the healing units. Absolutely have to be able to focus on them. I ended up losing that fight because again he's got a blister, or he's got a blood fuel himself, which is quite good. And that's okay though, because at this point we're 9 minutes in, not 9 minutes in, we're less than 9 minutes in, we're a couple minutes in, and we've already got 135 points, and I'm just going to go ahead up here. I know he's got some vehicles. I'm going to get my blister back set up, get up on the ridge, no issue giving up C, and feeling pretty good at this point about this fight. Mostly again because I've got the energy advantage. Now, I really do think this starting army with the 2 Prowling Marauders helps you get the energy advantage, because again it is so hard to combat. You almost have to call in 2 units in order to go in and to find a good way to answer the Prowling Marauders, because they're a decent unit overall. They have pretty good damage output, they're pretty quick, and the fact that these guys can cloak is just really solid. Now for whatever reason here, I don't know why I had such a hard time with this. I could not pick this blister back up. And I don't know. I'm not sure why that was the case. It was pretty frustrating. I know that Grunts were right there, but like right there I had selected it and hit Y. Just maybe it was frozen in place. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure why it was so locked down. I also don't know why that Prowling Reaver right there, when it took that shot from that, I guess maybe it did lose the health. It almost didn't look like it was losing the health that it needed to. So here's the other reason I like Shipmaster, the Honor Guard. I'm going to run him in there. I'm going to go contest this point. I'm actually going to run him in over here. I think I drop a Prowling Reaver in, maybe. I'm not sure, to take down... Oh, maybe not. Nope, I don't. So just really trying to continue the good fight here. I know these little fights is going to be what wins it for me right there. Honestly, we had the energy advantage. We won that initial fight. We did a great job of holding down the 3 points initially, and you know, he did a good job of fighting back, but at that point we just had too much on him. So we'll take through the statistics here, and then we'll jump into another game once we look at the deck. Here's the deck. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to change a thing. I'm going to probably keep this just as is. Again, you got the chopper, you got the hunters, all good stuff here. Glassing beam I think is going to be, and I think this is the other thing that really sets Shipmaster apart for me, is glassing beam. Super, super good. I'm just taking a look again. Prowling Marauder was definitely a consideration for the cloak, but just at 120 energy, I don't think I can put it in there. After playing with Isabel in that first video, again, if you haven't checked it out, go take a look at it. We ended up using the Lockdown Scorpion in the first game, and I'm realizing the more I play ones, the more I want to have a lower curve at the front end, with only having 1 or 2 things at the higher, 120 plus energy slot, because you just don't play through them, and I don't want to have to cycle. I want more of my cards to be live. I want to have more smaller energy costing hard counter units, so that I can make those initial fights a lot better. I want to be able to call in 2 or 3 things to help me push that initial fight over the edge, and be able to get that win early, instead of having something really high at the top end that I probably will cycle through 2 or 3 times before I'm even able to play it. So that's kind of my thought process there. Again, at the end of this series, we'll go through, I'll do a follow-up video covering all of the different leaders and kind of my rank order. And as I go through this, I'm actually taking some notes for myself. I want to put together a more comprehensive guide of specific things that you can do, specific strategies and tips to maybe improve your game just a little bit. As I've always said, I'm by no means an expert in this game. I'm a rank 30, which puts me just over the midway point as far as leveling up. I do have some good time in the game. I really do enjoy the game. I really enjoy Blitz. That's definitely my better multiplayer mode. And so hopefully just by playing a little bit of this, maybe you see some things, see a deck guide that you guys enjoy, as well as take a few tips away from me with how I play and some of the strategies that I use, as well as maybe just enlighten yourselves a little bit and come to some conclusions on your own about leaders. Hopefully, like I said, my goal is to hopefully kind of prove that each of the leaders is now at least a viable option in Blitz. If you guys are wondering, I am still sitting. I haven't been opening a ton of packs, so I'm still sitting at about the 3 to 4 veteran level for each of my units, which is pretty average. It's putting me to the point where unless they're about 10 levels higher than me, they're probably not out veteran level my units. I don't know how else to say that. They're not leveled up too high comparatively, giving them too strict of an advantage. We have a level 39 that we're going up against here, playing Colony, which should be a pretty good fight. I do know that Colony has one kind of distinct disadvantage, the fact that they're pretty slow. And here I think you're going to see me kind of take advantage of that. Now, the Goliaths up front, these things are brutal. They're a great unit. The fact that they can just soak up a ton of damage, but I know that he's really not honestly doing a ton of damage to these guys right here. He does do a smart thing, calls in the engineer, but at this point I've already taken out a Goliath. I've done a great job, and I'm trying to focus in on taking these hunters out, and you'll notice that I've now gone and snagged both energy, which is a huge bonus for me. So I'm actually going to move this troop over here. I'm going to try to go get this other energy. I'm going to take these hunters. I don't know why I moved these hunters over. This was probably not a very good fight, but again, you guys have heard me before. Try to win that initial fight. At this point, I'm not winning this initial fight. Here, I'm not. I did have the idea to try to kind of take a few units out, and I did that. I think I did that okay, but he definitely got the advantage there. But at this point, I've won the other critical first step, in my opinion, which is to win the energy fight. Now we're sitting at 3 energy cores to his absolute 0, which is going to provide me the capability to just kind of move around, call on some good counter units. He jumps up over to A, which was a decent move to at least try to get himself on the board with a couple points here. But now that I've got a Marauder and I've got a Hunter coming in there, that Reaver is going to stand no chance. So now I get the capability to kind of get myself set up here. And that's kind of what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to get this blood fuel up on the ridge. That's going to act kind of like my siege unit. I'm going to get a Reaver up there, obviously, because I do want to take down the air. I wanted to try to focus in, and here the glassing beam is just so good. I think this, for me, is the thing that seals the deal on Shipmaster being one of the top leaders. And now, obviously, I still have a ton of other games to play with a bunch of the other leaders, but that leader power is just so good. It deals so much damage. The capability that it has, it's so hard to combat because, as you see, if you have a group of units, you want to pull your entire group of units out there. You don't want to leave anything behind to be destroyed. But what that essentially allows me then to do is, because the units move at the same speed of whatever the slowest unit is, it essentially means that every time I use Glassing Beam, unless they have a group of a bunch of really fast units, that I'm probably getting some really good value out of the 110 energy that Glassing Beam provides. So, huge fan of it. I think that's one of the big things for me that makes Shipmaster just a great option as a leader. And like I said, I'm coming to believe the more and more I play these now into this second episode, that having a good leader power, good direct damage dealing leader power that's quick and efficient, a lot of times can really help turn the tide of battle for you, and can, like you just saw there, really push this in my favor. I essentially wiped out that group that he had. It provides me the capability. He has to pull his units back. He has to get them set up. You know what that allows me to do? Allows me to get set up, allows me to grab energy, which I've now grabbed just about all of them. And at this point, I feel pretty good. I'm going to move some of these units forward. If he takes C, totally fine. Allows me to get a blister back set up and engaging. And at this point, I mean, I'm sitting at 184 points. I've got Shipmaster out already. contesting this point, he's got C, that's great, but even C, his units on C are really getting battered. So again, try to win that initial fight, get that energy going, and as you saw right here, Shipmaster, a really well-timed, I think, glassing beam, I think pushed this one over the edge for me. If I had not done that, I think that a little group, he would have been able to move pretty efficiently, move them around the map quite well. I didn't have a whole lot defending A either, so that would have been a decent push, but as you can see there, I actually completely dominated the energy game, which, again, I made a good fight at the beginning, and Shipmaster's initial army with those 2 Marauders really makes it tough. You got to almost kind of focus on fighting those or trying to collect energy. And again, looking at the deck, glassing beam, definitely probably the top tier leader power. Inferno's super good, but I think glassing beam probably takes the cake for me. So it'll be interesting to see. Continue testing the rest of the leaders. Really do like the Honor Guard. I really wouldn't change a whole lot or anything with this deck, to be really honest. Honor Guard at 190 energy is actually really cheap too, so I'm fine with that being the top tier. Shield and Cloak is great. The rest of the deck I think is pretty self-explanatory, because again, you do want to give yourself the option to be able to fight a lot of different stuff. Suicide Grunts for me kind of acts as another leader power to take out those large groups. Grunt Mob has been absolutely great. It's kind of my counter infantry fight card. Same thing with glassing beam, and I think that's the other reason that I really do like glassing beam, is because people do, and I do the same thing, you group a lot of units together, whether it be a diversified army or a lot of infantry. Typically you're going to have a lot of stuff together, which makes glassing beam, even that small AoE, makes it really good. So this is the deck, this is how we set up. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the series. I really have been enjoying playing as these different leaders. I've been playing with now 2 leaders, Shipmaster that I use pretty regularly, Isabel not as much, and kind of learning again, relearning a little bit of their strengths and weaknesses, but also kind of tuning myself in and really kind of dialing down for why certain leaders are good, why certain leaders are bad, and what makes them so. And I think little things, again, like having a really good leader power like glassing beam, and some synergy with some of the cloak stuff, I think again can set certain leaders above, and it definitely appears to be so with Shipmaster. We went 2-0 in our games, super excited about that, and excited to continue the rest of the series. So again, if you aren't subscribed, please do. Stay tuned into the channel for the next week or so as we continue through these, and hopefully you guys are enjoying. Let me know down in the comments if you're using a different kind of deck, or what your initial thoughts are on Shipmaster as well, especially after a lot of the balance updates. Dr. The Average Gamer, guys, thank you again so much for the support, and thank you again so much for watching this. We'll check you in the next one.